Hello guys, this is Vidas,
And I'm Ausra.
and today let's talk about how to connect with your audience about this important issue, right? In your experience as a performer in public, Ausra, did you have a concert or recital or even church service where you didn't have that connection with your listeners?
Well, probably yes.
Everybody probably
Yes,
had this
yeah.
experience, which is of course frustrating when somebody after the performance comes up to you and says things, oh, it didn't resonate to me, the music wasn't nice, right? The tempo was too fast of the hymns, right? Or the hymns you played were too loud, these things. It just means that you didn't have the connection.
Well, but at least you got feedback. I think the worst thing is, when people just leave in the middle of your recital. This is really frustrating because you will never know why we left. Didn't we like, the way you are playing, or we didn't like music you chose for your recital. So it's a problem.
Should we strive that everybody would like our playing? How do you think, Ausra? Every listener would be happy.
Probably not, but I think as a performer you must make happy yourself first of all, and then after that comes everybody else.
It's like in life, right? If you are not happy, if you are not helping yourself, you definitely will not help others. So before you help others, you have to think of yourself also. Otherwise, you're just wasting your talents and your basic time. So the same is with organ playing. I think one of the principles to have in public performance in order to have this connection might be, for example, maybe to play some of the pieces in a way that the audience would understand. Maybe some of the more familiar tunes, right? It doesn't have to be cheesy or pop music related, right? But for example, some classical pieces that they would have heard from the past would help, don't you think?
I think so, yes. And if you are playing more difficult, more complicated music, you probably will want to explain, like to do lecture recital if it's a recital, or at least to write down program notes. That might help too.
This also helps to connect with your audience. Some written word, or especially if you're not so afraid to talk during the performance, it's very good idea to incorporate some announcements and presentations about the composer's pieces, instrument, general ideas that. Not too technical, not too theoretical, of course, not too dry material.
Sure.
But of course, something that people could relate to, right?
Yes, it's like knowing yourself. For example, if you are playing certain piece, you should find out about it. When was it written? What happened in composer's life at that time. If it's possible, to find out that information, that might help you as a interpreter and also for the public.
Right, so first of all, in order for the listeners to connect with you, you have to be very interested in your music. Not only how it sounds, how you play well or not well, but really deeply how the composer came up with this idea to create, how the piece is put together basically.
Sure.
In basic terms, not in very complicated terms, how you could explain to the person, to your friend, right, how he or she should understand what you're playing, right? For example, the fugue, right, the very dry and advanced musical piece that some performers even are afraid to play in for general public, right, because they will leave immediately. But don't you think that it's possible to even connect with the audience while playing fugues also?
Sure, I think so, yes. If you will explain what is happening and how complex these pieces are of fugues, well, I think it would be helpful maybe just to play the subject of the fugue,
right,
at the beginning, before playing.
I think we should keep the listeners busy, the mind, right? Keep them engaged. And one of the ways to keep them engaged is probably, for example, to get them counting the subjects. How many times will you play the subject of the fugue during the piece, right? So, as Ausra was saying, right, you will demonstrate the tune, the subject itself, and then let them count. And maybe, how about a little quiz at the end of the performance, asking them maybe to raise their hands if they counted 10 subjects or 12 or 8, right?
Sure.
And of course, give the right answer.
That would be fun.
Fantastic. So think about those things, how you can really engage your audience mind, a person's mind during the performance that you will be playing in public. And then I think your performance not only will be more interesting to them, but I think you will lose some of the performance anxiety also, because you will be thinking about those general things, extra musical things, and that your mind will be engaged also, and you will be less afraid to play in public. Don't you think, Ausra?
Yes, I agree.
Alright, so apply this in your practice and performance. This really helped.
I have fun.
Thanks.